Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Asklar, and Craig Talley's on the line there. And we'll be doing a little show, kind of follows its own path down through here. You know, as we always say, you know, we never know what we're going to kind of talk about or whatever. We just kind of go with the flow. But we started up doing something the other day, and I don't know how many of you guys caught it, where we went ahead and did like a morning show almost. It really doesn't matter when we do it, Craig. I was thinking about that, but because most of the guys download it anyways and then put it onto their phones and stuff like that. But we were trying it in the morning because Craig and I a lot of times will sit here and either talk by computer or talk on a phone or whatever, and just about metal detecting or whatever's going on. We're going to try to keep them more centralized to topics, I think, because it's only supposed to be like a half an hour show or something. You guys know how hard it is for me and Craig to not talk. So the first one, I think the first one lasted 38 minutes. This past one was 33 minutes. But we kind of have fun with it, and we thought it'd be a good idea, just something a little bit different out there. We want to kind of localize the conversation a little bit. Anyways, we're still off the cuff or whatever, and you're still welcome to call in when you see us live and stuff. But figure we try one Monday morning and again, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something along those lines. Anyways, and we don't have a time. Be sometime in the morning probably, but we just kind of go with it. I don't know, Craig. I enjoyed the last one. Anyways, we still had to get off the air and make ourselves go. But
yeah, well, we're not really used to doing that, with a time constraint.
Oh yeah, I know. You put me under a gun there. We're trying to make sure we get all the information out there, but. We do have a lot of men and women out there work hard every single day and have to sit in traffic or whatever it is, and at least you have something fun to listen to, anyways, instead of listening to a bunch of commercials and regular AM/FM. It gets kind of old, I'm sure, after a while. But I'm sure that a lot of y'all download the shows, different shows, anyways. If you're into podcasts and stuff, seems to be the way to go. So we just want to give it a shot there. I'm really pushing hard, Craig, for that idea I had that every second Friday of the month, you should be able to call into work if you were, if you're a detectorist or treasure hunter of some kind, because we're saving history. It's Saving History Day. That's what I want to call it. So you just take off work. Just call the boss. Hey, I'm saving history today. I can't go to work, and he'd have to understand and pay you anyways. That's the way it should work.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. But no, I'm actually going out tomorrow, Craig, out to the Tollbridge property tomorrow morning, and going to hit it again and try the different side of the property now. It's about 400 and some acres, so, I'm kind of just going to wandering around and try and find some activity and, try to deal with all the little quirks about this property. It just seems like I can't get my coil over any kind of coin or button or anything like that. It's mostly shotgun shells and bullets, but there's a lot of history, over 200 years of history on that property. So I should be able to get into something, God willing, because I sure know I've really tried. But I got a message, Craig, I think it's over Facebook, I guess, about the limestone rock I found with the purple in it. You remember that?
Yeah.
If you read it or not. And for the life of me, I can't remember when I found that. I think I found that at the Linden property, didn't I, Craig? The Linden house over that real old property.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
I'm getting old or something. I can't remember where I found stuff, and it's not normal for me. Usually I can tell you exactly where I found stuff. But, yeah, it was a limestone rock, and it had purple streaks through it. It was kind of neat looking. I'd never seen one with purple streaks. And just as like a violet purple, real dark compared to, or not violet, but like an ultraviolet kind of purple you'd see on maybe a tractor trailer truck or something real deep. Just strange, I'd never seen with those kind of markings on it or in it. So, I see that Loy is on chat, and so is Bill Marsh and Mark Hoover and everything. Welcome, guys. But yeah, Craig, you come across other stuff all the time. It seems like, you have, and I know it's happened to you. We're out there detecting, and all of a sudden you find a bottle, and then you find another bottle, and pretty soon you're spending the next 2 hours digging up the ground because there's bottles everywhere. Some of them are broken, some of them are not. I had one time that I was doing a sidewalk cutout, where they were going to put sidewalks in, so they had scraped the ground and it was on a Friday, and they left. So that weekend, I took my metal detector. Figure it's public property, and started metal detecting. But it was so trashy. I mean, it was just horrible. I think I was using a whites back then. Well, it wouldn't have mattered what you were using. It was like a cellar hole site, just tons of iron, tons of this and that. And I started seeing bottle pieces, broken glass, and I had one target. I dug it, and it was I don't know, not aluminum, copper cigarette pack. It was for a Camel pack, or no, Lucky Strike, and I had never seen one of those in metal, like a tin almost, like aluminum foil, but it was tinny, a lot more strength to it. But it was pretty well shot. It was all ate up, with like that cancer all over it. But I ended up digging up an old ink well, and then it just started from there. And I spent, I don't even know, I took over 100 bottles, and they were all maybe 3 inches deep. It wasn't that deep, so I just pretty much running the shovel just under the ground and popping up. And I did I don't know, about a 30-foot section, had over 100 bottles, all kinds of different ones, the screw cap ones. Mostly they were cork bottle. I can't remember the liniment oils and probably castor oil, all this stuff, ink wells. But I just don't know anything about bottles, Greg. I mean, it just they may be worth a bunch of money. I don't know. I think I ended up selling them to somebody. There was a lady who insisted that she wanted all of them. She wanted to pay for them, so I think I told her $100, take them all, and figure it was a bottle. And she may have had some. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The big thing about bottles is people want pristine ones. They don't want really ones that come out of the ground particularly.
Right. That's what I thought too. But she offered me money, so I said, "What the heck? I don't collect them. I mean,
I remember Detecting Lifestyle had a guy named, I think his name was Josh or something, and he was out in the Midwest somewhere, and he was a bottle digger, and it's unbelievable the stuff he was digging. And he came out to, I think, New Jersey, and a whole bunch of them went, and he showed them how to find privies and how to probe and all kinds of stuff. Spent about like a week doing it. And but he knew bottle collectors, and he said that it was almost like a sport where these guys were competitive. They were always trying to outdo each other on rare bottles, and
right.
And this, and that guys that could afford to do that, and they would have certain bottles that if you found it, they basically, paid big bucks for it. And guys were, but he talked about, in New York, people sometimes dug down, 60, 80, even 100 feet down, And I was like, God, you got to be kidding me, I was in, I helped this friend of mine, Howard. He dug down about 9 feet, and we went down to 23 feet that day. Took us about 6 hours, and we found all kinds of pretty cool bottles and stuff. But I kept about 5 of them. But he probably altogether in 3 days of digging there, we probably dug about 200 bottles.
Jeez, yeah. Takes
and there was
break them if they're good, so it takes you forever to get them out of the ground sometimes. They get so packed in there. Yeah.
Well, there was like just thousands of bottles that, most of them were broken in there, just pieces everywhere. You'd think you have a really good bottle. Plus, when you're down like 20 feet down, it's kind of dark, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah. I got into this, I remember I was finally, I was getting tired, so I dug like a chair, out
in the ground
where I could, so I could sit on it. And when I was digging out, where I was going to have my feet, I hit this layer of bottles that was going up the side. And, man, it was like, some of them were dating back to 1700s. But this was like right in Old Town Alexandria.
Yeah.
And it was on Duke Street, I believe, and it was I think up until think around 1834 or something, they got worried about the groundwater, with all this, people had these big, trash pits, basically, is what it was. And, where else are you going to put the stuff? So people didn't want it to just pile up. And down in Old Town, they didn't have big yards down there. It was like these row houses, that dated back to the 1700s. And they were like, no side yard at all. Just, they were just jammed together, all down through there. They're all still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but even had, before that they had cobblestone streets, and there's probably like five cobblestone streets still left. But anyway, this place, I think there was there was probably another privy too, or something in that yard, because a lot of times I was reading later that some of these would fill up, and then they would just kind of cover over the top of it and dig a new one. But it's we even found Civil War stuff. We found New York buttons, Excelsior buttons. What else? Found some round balls. I think 1 3-ringer, a couple pistol bullets. We basically gave all the stuff to the people there, and I think I kept maybe 5 bottles, but they were small ones. So I didn't keep any of the big ones.
I'm just not into the dust collectors like that. I mean, if they were, I guess if I knew they were really, kind of collectible, the ones I was finding, I think I kept a couple inkwells, because I do like those. But I don't have anywhere to display that kind of collection. Some people, I have a couple friends that have a wall dedicated to all kinds of stuff like that. Bottles, knickknacks. He's passed away now, but he had a screen porch, Florida room, whatever you all want to call it, coming into the front of his house right there. There was a big long porch along the front, and on the inside wall on that was he had like harmonicas, harmonica reeds, padlocks, bottles, buckles, whatever, anything old, anything like a relic. And that's what he lined the entire wall with. And it was really nice, neat shelves. I mean, they're all wood and stained and everything. And he took a lot of pride in that wall there, just because there's a little bit of history. And, of course, I saw it when I first met him. And Larry was 86 or something like that when I first met him at church. And he was telling me about it. And actually, he let me hunt his property. And I found a 18, I think we dated 1870 padlock or something like that. And he just was over the moon with that, and I gave it to him. But he had a porch like I'd like, the old rustic looking chairs and like not a chase lounge, whatever. It kind of swung. It had eye bolts in the ceiling right there. You could sit right there and just look around, and it was screened in, but at the bottom half below, like about 3 foot up off the ground of it, he had relics right there too, bottles and everything else, just old whiskey bottles, old medicine bottles, stuff like different colors. Just really kind of a neat man cave kind of looking place, and I told him, I said, "You must be a relic hunter." He goes, No. He goes, "I just like cool old stuff." And he'd go around to auctions or whatever else, wherever you could find the stuff. And, I told Pauline, I said, "I'd really like to do that in my office. Just take all the shelving down, and just put that kind of thing, like a grid." They used to call them printer's trays. You know what I'm talking about, Craig? People hung them on the wall and put little ditties on them, but it'd be on the big side, to be able to put a lot of the relics we have, just dedicate a whole wall of, I think it's its own decoration right there, and you're showing off the history you saved. So I guess that'd be the only time I ever get a bottle collection. I don't know. Got a couple, but it's just not my thing. I mean, there's some guys that, man, I tell you what, they find some really cool. It's just stoneware, the old crock pots and stuff like that. The old or the whiskey moonshine or whiskey gallon ones, made out of stone or stoneware or whatever. I always liked that kind of stuff. I have a few of them myself. As a matter of fact, my mom used to buy them from the auctions up north to make sauerkraut or whatever else in them things, the big crocks. Usually they have numbers or dates on them and stuff like that. A lot of them, she had a couple from the early 1800s, late 1700s. Got them for next to nothing, but they're just real, kind of a decorative piece for a man cave or something like that, put it in the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got my little grandnephew over here. It's probably, I don't know if you guys can hear him or not. He's fighting to sleep right there. He's spending the weekend with us. There was Aunt Pauline's in there, babying on him and stuff. So you might hear him yell or scream sometime or another. He's only 7 months old, so try to get him out there. He's already playing in the dirt with his feet, Craig. Just ain't found. I think he found a metal detector that he can really use. I guess I can give him the pinpointer, let him get out there and find some coins. He might eat them though. I don't know. Smart kid. He's only 7. Come on. He's already trying to walk. It's hilarious. He's barely started crawling. He's already wanting to walk, stand up, and everything else. Nice having a munchkin around. So. Yeah, they're cool when they're that age. They can't yell at you or nothing like that. When they get to be teenagers and everything that you don't know anything anymore until they turn 30 and say, "Oh yeah, Dad, you were right." So I like them when they're little. But yeah, he's over for the weekend, and so Pauline's having fun. And that's all that matters. So maybe you'll hear him yell maybe in the background. But trying to get, I'm trying to get over there tomorrow and hunt at that Tollbridge property, Craig. And I'm going to move. I'm just going to drive somewhere that looks good. That's all I'm going to do is just jump out and start detecting. If I don't find anything in, a half hour, I'm just going to move to a different spot. Just keep on bouncing around that property a little bit. And because I've gotten not the whole side of the one side done, but, several spots through there. I'm just not finding I'm finding activity, just not what I expected. I'm not used to getting stumped like this. Usually I always end up finding, one or two decent items that I can date the property by, whether it be even iron, certain kinds of iron. I did find the wagon chain, a couple of links from a wagon, harness or whatever for horses, for a wagon. But that's about the only thing, period, I found in that general area up through there. Probably about a 10-acre area, I guess, bouncing around. But nothing by the house, nothing out just out behind it. It's kind of throwing me for a loop there. I mean, nothing other than shotgun shells and bullets. Just kind of blows my mind. 200 years, and that's all that's there. Either that or it's seriously deep. But, I've been running these settings that are so open up that, I pretty much sound off on males if they're out there. Not all the way. It's right at the verge. With the Quest too, but I mean, I've been using the Bliss tool out there with the 11-inch coil, but most of the bullets in Craig, stuff I'm digging, Craig, is only, 8 inches tops. It's not really deep. I don't know. It is weird. I don't think it could have been hunted out that bad. I know there's been somebody on that property at some time, but you don't usually get everything. So, but that's what I'm going to try in the morning, and I don't know. I think I'm okay with the 11-inch coil. I thought about putting the 15 on, but I don't see much of a need for that if I'm not. I mean, I could hit a penny at 14 inches with that detector with the 11-inch coil. So I figure, if it's there, I'm at least going to hear something. And running the discrimination level so low, it pretty much comes through, and I just have to do my, my pinpoint to tell whether it's iron or not. I still dig it most of the time, but I just gonna kind of go with it. I'm just gonna keep on doing that until I find stuff. I mean, that's all I can do. I try to sight read the area, try to pick the higher points and the leveler ground and stuff. Been over 200 and some years. Well, heck, property changes. The landscape changes. Where you had trees, you may have fields now, vice versa. So, at least that's the way it is down this way. Well, we talked about that last week when we were talking about these Civil War time photos. You only see like 1 or 2 trees in the background or whatever, very few. And that's usually because they just had a battle or they had an encampment there and they cut all the trees down for firewood or something.
Yeah.
It always seems very barren in the background. Um, but yeah, just when they drain the property off down through this way, well, we have what they call Jumper Creek. And the Army Corps of Engineers back in the 40s, I think, or 30s, dug this, this ditch, big whatever creek, to drain the property to flood control. That's, if you ever hear the song Seminole Wind, they talk about draining the glades and stuff like that in the name of flood control, and they kind of did the same thing up here. So it actually hurt the commerce down this way. I mean, Center Hill and stuff was, they were the pepper capital of the country. I mean, they grew a lot of crops down here, and they had a train that ran right through town that would haul a lot of the stuff out of there. And now it's just cattle, mostly cattle. I mean, there's a few farms left, but nothing like it used to be down here. So moving that water the way they did, or it made a lot of areas that it just may not have nothing on it because they were swamp. Back then, until they drained the property off, then it became livable. And so, I may be dealing with some of that too, not knowing where the water, that's why I don't really hunt the low spots very much. I'll go through there, if I don't get any hits or nothing, I kind of move out of them, because I don't know anybody that build their house in a swamp. So,
yeah. Well, that makes sense. It probably rains quite a bit down there, doesn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. We've gotten some hellacious storms in the last, well, for this time of year, in the direction that the storms are coming in, we had them coming directly out of the east. Usually that's not the case. I only can count maybe 3 storms, thunderstorms or whatever, that have come directly out of the east since I've lived on this property, about 5-6 years. But it came through, it was howling, man. It knocked half the county out, I think, of power for about 2 or 3 hours, and then it came back on. But no trees down. I mean, I couldn't believe with all the wind there was, but it didn't really knock anything down. I think it just tripped the breakers on them, or the thingamajig up on the transformers. But they had the power back on. But it's we get some pretty good gully washers. It's not uncommon. I think I'm this year with 8 inches in one rainstorm. So in a few hours it dumps. Yeah, so I'm gonna head out there tomorrow and do that, and see what I can scrounge up. There's got to be goodies there. I mean, it just kills you when there has to be stuff there. So I'm gonna have to have everybody come down and help me, I think, is what is going to happen. Just put 100 hunters out there and see where the activity is. We'll find it. Hey, we do it for Morgan's Raiders, the CWPPO, and then digging in Pennsylvania, and heck, in DIV they do it even. The places that people have hunted repeatedly, and go in there and still find a bucket full of relics. So that one, the one we hunted in 2015, was like they said, it's been hunted before, but there's still stuff there, and it was enough to fill a trailer, the good stuff anyways. And we've all found a bunch of bullets and all that kind of thing, but there was plates found and buckles found, and it was just a lot harder, a lot tougher, because it's that you said you had hunted that place, you and your friend and everything had hunted that back in the 80s sometime or another, and dug over 150 to 200 bullets a day or something like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, I just couldn't even imagine digging that many holes.
I talked to some of the veterans that first started some of these camps, and they were using Metrotechs, and they hardly dug buttons, but they dug plates and bullets and all kinds of iron stuff, and wasn't if you didn't dig 500 or 600 bullets sometimes in those camps, when you first went in, there was something wrong. That's how many, the ground was just littered with stuff.
Right.
And it's hard to imagine. I don't think I've ever found a completely virgin camp like that. Now, I found camps where the ground was real mineralized and people couldn't get much depth, and
right.
I went in there with better with the Explorer did really well. I used to be able to get deep bullets and stuff in those kind of camps. and I get a lot of, people give up, and I would go in there and I'd, get that 2 or 3 extra inches, and I could, it was unbelievable how much stuff was down that, where they just couldn't hear it. But, so I'm on this site called Virginia Metal Detecting, I think it is, or Virginia Relic Hunting. There's a couple of really good sites where, these guys show, what they used to, stuff that they found on these sites that are long gone now. And I've met a few of the guys, in the past, but there was one where they were talking about this, one of the first DIV hunts, and it was out in what was it? I think it was White Oak, Virginia, which was near that museum where the guy Newton has a White Oak museum where he has like 60,000 bullets in one pile.
Yeah, something crazy.
100,000. Yeah, I've been there 4 or 5 times. Guys, really, I mean, one time we sat there and talked for about 5 hours straight, and it felt like it was an hour.
Yeah.
It's like, but anyway, they were digging at that DIV thing, and they got signals, and they ended up digging down, and they found a corduroy road, and they found out that that area had been so muddy, and they wanted to bring in heavier stuff, I think even artillery, so they had to make like a road out of logs.
Right.
And they actually notched them together and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy went in there, brought back a chainsaw the second day or the third day, and he cut one of the logs and took it home with him. So, but it had the actual, markings, where the soldiers had chopped it, and
right.
stuff. Pretty cool. But they found all kinds of stuff, in that road, in that mud and that road bed. So that was, I think that was near that spot where they went in there. That it was supposed to be a virgin spot, and it turned out it had been hammered for years. And then they started digging all these hut sites out, and they, after the second day, they had, I think there was over 200 plates, 150, belt buckles and stuff found.
Cool.
Hundreds of, it was like, hundreds and hundreds of bottles too that were found. And those huts were just like time capsules. They'd never been touched.
Oh yeah, you're opening up a treasure trove of relics.
Yeah.
They dug that one up there at the DIV I went to, and undisturbed found a full uniform. It was ate up and everything, but it still had all the buttons on it, and found the big kettle, the copper kettle, and a sword, and bottles, and just all kinds of stuff in that hut site. And they don't know why they found all that there. I mean, there was no body or nothing like that in it. It was just he may have been a deserter, or who knows why the whole uniform would be there and everything. But yeah, they found that. I think they found his gun, there was a bunch of stuff found, and that was in a hut site. I've never come across one myself. I've seen them do plenty of dig plenty of them, just at the DIV, see them off in the distance digging down. It wasn't for me. I don't mind doing those, but I mean, I don't think I could do it all the time. It's just a lot of bending down, a lot of physical. It's not easy, People think all metal technique, no big deal, but it's damn sure cardio. Let me tell you, you dig 100 holes a day or 200 holes a day, that are 8 to 12 inches deep. Yeah, you're gonna feel it by the end of the day. I can guarantee you. But even on the beach, Mike Miller and me and Paul Hill and Tom Jones and all that, we go out there, and we're out there for like 3 hours, and each one of us probably dug 50, 60 holes anyways. And walking through that beach sand, it seemed like a half a mile to the water, the way it's located at, everything where we were hunting at. Man, you're plumb worn out, beating sun and everything else.
I remember I'd be out with all these guys, there'd be like 6 of us out hunting, and, after about last 2 or 3 hours, maybe 2 or 3 of them be like laying on the ground or laying up against trees, you're waiting for us to leave, and then the walk back was like, God, it was like the walking wounded,
Yeah. Well, that's the way.
They'd be bitching, I remember, a lot of these spots, the reason I found stuff was it was so far back, it was hard to find, and it was,
it was rugged. It wasn't easy to get to.
Yeah. Well, you saw some of the spots I found.
Yeah, Craig's over here running through the woods just about like a lunatic, and I'm over here just trying to make it up the side of the hill. I mean, I did that with Bill Pendergrass and Tom Bunch there down over there outside of Nashville. We were hunting, and I'm following Bill, and he goes, well, we got to get up there to the top of that. And I'm looking up, I'm climbing dang mountains. I'm from Florida. I'm a flatlander anymore is what it amounts to. But we climbed up there hanging on to vines and trees and carrying all our stuff up there. We got up the side of that mountain. I guess we conquered it. We should have done a rocky dance at the top of it, but we got up there, and Tom Bunch came up the other way, I guess. I mean, somehow or another, I think. Well, no, he came up the same side we did later on, and he had a heck of a time. And that's where we got that signal up there on top of that hill. It was a dirt, probably about 2 inches, and you hit rock. And, like these slabs of rock or boulders or whatever. It was a weird place for me to hunt. I haven't run into that much rock before. And we hadn't really found nothing, maybe a couple shotgun casings, stuff like that. But that's supposedly where the Confederates were lined up shooting down into the valley there at the Yankees when they come down the road. There was an old road that went through a field right there. It was right near an interstate, believe it or not. You could see the interstate was right by about maybe not even a couple hundred yards from the property. But at any rate, we got this signal up there. I can't remember if Bill or me. Well, one of the two of us got it, and man, it just beat the signal, and so he started. And I come over. He goes, "Does this sound good?" I said, "Man, it sounds freaking great. I can lift my coil off the ground about 8 or 9 inches off the ground and still get it." And so Bill started digging. By that time, Tom Bunch come over, and we're still digging. He goes, well, "I can't really get it with my detector." He was using a V5, and both me and Bill were using the V6s, and we were getting it in full discrimination mode, and it's like, dang, it just sounds good. So we got down into some rocks, and he was prying up these flat rocks, and we got down there to, I don't know, about 1.5 feet down. It was really hard digging, and we were still getting a signal down in there, and we never did find it. We just didn't have anything to bust up the rock anymore. It was these thick slabs. But I kept on, telling Bill, they never went back up there and looked at that, I don't think. And I swear it had to have been something, even if it was iron. How in the world did it get down below all that rock like that? And this is up towards the top of the mountain, so it wasn't like a rock slide or something. You know what I mean? It was a relatively flat area up there. But I always thought maybe they dumped a bunch of bullets there or something, whatever supplies when they left that mountain. But I don't know if Tom ever went up there. I guess Tom was telling me that there was a couple famous, veterans or whatever of the hobby, guys that started in this thing that had hunted that property, but it was back in the, it was a long time ago, really. It doesn't surprise me they found everything on the side of that hill because, like I said, there wasn't a lot of dirt up there before you hit rock, so they probably found all the easy stuff. But it just kind of floored me. That's why I hate walking on the target. We just didn't have anything to dig. Our shovels just weren't touching that thing. We couldn't pry up on it or nothing. But you hate walking on a target because you always wonder what the heck it could have been. So I think that's why I dig the big iron like I do. If I get a big old chunk of iron, I want to see what the heck it is. So, but the terrain we get into, and it's physically, it'll beat you down. I mean, I've been times Greg's seen me to where I can't even barely walk. We hunt, 10, 12 hours or whatever it is, and try to make it back to the hotel room at that one hunt. Craig said, "I didn't think you were going to make it into the store." I said, "Well, I was on my way to get beer, so, I was going to make it somehow if I had to crawl." So, got to have my beer.
Well, you made a miracle recovery the next day, I'll tell you. I thought you were going to be...
I really thought I wasn't going to make it out the next day. It's the first time in my, whatever life that I didn't think I was going to be able to get around the next day. But I jumped up the next day. I was recharged, and heck, we went most of the day that day too. Even the kids, there was a lot of kids at that hunt, and between 8 and 12, 13, somewhere in there, they were falling asleep on the ground. They were so beat, but they were digging like crazy too. Man, we all had a great time. That was a really fun hunt that Sam put on. Sam Waters there. What's the name of her Facebook page, Craig? I can't remember. It used to be Backyard Diggers. Now it's
Liberty Diggers.
Liberty Diggers. That's right. Yeah, her.
I know her YouTube channel's called that too. I think called that too.
Liberty Diggers. Okay, yeah, I have to look it up again because it's just I knew it was Backyard Diggers for a long time, and I know she was going to change it. Her and Evan probably changed it up a little bit. But yeah, they're they're good hunters in their own right, man. She found that $20 gold piece or $5 gold piece about a year or two ago, and Evan's always finding something. He's one of those guys that has a talent for detectors, kind of like you, Craig. He can go in there and go from a Deus to a Bliss tool to a Technetics to a whatever, and just have it. He's used them before maybe, but he has a talent with them. Learning the machines pretty quick, it seems like. Well, we got to hunt with Evan up there. At the same time, met Mark and everything up there too, Mark Hoover. But Evan's good. Evan Creedy, yeah. But yeah, they have put on a good Facebook page. I was looking at New Age Goonies Facebook page, and they had some good articles on there too. I meant to share a couple of those over, Craig, and I must not be doing it right or something, or they're the Facebook's not letting me or something. It's getting a little aggravating. I saw a couple neat things people found, and I was trying to share them over to Hardcore Metal Detecting. And does it always offer you a chance to share, or do you have to do something different? Because I'd be doggone if I could figure it out sometimes. Usually it has a share button on there.
Yeah, I usually, for my thing, I can actually, if I'm on the Facebook, I can share, and then it says to go to your page. You can tap above it, and it'll bring down like a little menu, and I've got a Craig Talley page, and then I can go to the Hardcore page and share it to either one of those straight from there.
Okay, yeah, it just wasn't. I was hitting 3-dot things too, trying to get it wasn't even offering me a chance to share it, and I tried to copy the URL, the link, and it did put the link up for the Facebook. I don't know, it was weird. I said I had enough of it. It wasn't because of the way they had it set. Maybe they had it marked private or something. I don't know, but it was a big coin. The guy said he's always wanted to find a large cent, and they dug a large cent, all right. It's one of those fake or whatever. It's the size of a coffee can lid. Those pennies. Yeah, they look like pennies. Whatever. It's a replica. In other words. But I told him, I said, heck, I've never dug one of those things. That's a bucket lister if I ever saw one. Because how many of those have you seen? And the thing was like the size of a coffee can lid, and a big old Lincoln cent. And I said, yeah, you dug a large cent.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. But I'd never seen one dug before. Yeah. So.
At least it wasn't a stinking Lincoln.
Well, it was a stinking Lincoln, but it was a great big large one.
Oh, was it?
It was a large stinking Lincoln. It was a paperweight. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was. I don't know if it was made out of. I don't think it was copper. Maybe it could have been copper. I had to go back and look at it, but it was on. Oh, good gosh. I'm not going to be able to remember. Yeah, that's the problem with my brain. I got that CRS. Can't remember. So
yeah, I got a $20 gold piece like that.
Yeah,
it's made out of brass.
Oh yeah. I got a breastplate like that. One of my friends gave it to me. Remember that, Craig?
Yeah.
And he says, "Here's a breastplate. Now you can say you found one in the store." It's a copy.
It's still pretty cool.
Neat. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I never, Craig, of course, when I was up there, he showed me a bunch of the stuff he's found and stuff, and the reals and the silver coins and the breastplates and all that kind of stuff. And Craig's been hunting forever, and he has one heck of a collection. And I told him, I said, more than half of what stuff you have here is on my bucket list, because I just don't get a chance to hunt for a lot of this Civil War stuff down here. Down here in Florida, the only chance I have is when I go up and visit you all, different parts of the country and stuff like that. So, but Craig has an incredible amount of one of a kind, I call them, kind of finds a lot of buttons and stuff that you just don't, casings and bullets that you just don't find every day. They're very rare. And I don't even know. I ask Craig all the time if I find something up there. What is this, Craig? This is this. I don't know. There's over 2,000 different rifle rounds or something fired in the Civil War.
Oh yeah.
Guns.
Yeah, especially the early war camps. A lot of the guys, had, all kinds of mismatched weapons and stuff back, that they brought in before they pretty much standardized it.
Right.
So you saw, there was, these crazy looking bullets called Garibaldi. The Garibaldi Italian rifle, and
right.
They were the craziest looking bullets you ever saw, and they were so rare at first that they were going for about $100 a piece or something. And there were some camps further down from where I used to hunt that had been hunted, much earlier than, and there was some Confederate camps down there, and everybody was finding, they found a couple on one side of the creek, and didn't seem to be any camps on the other side of the creek. And one guy went over there, was hunting, and found out it was like a surface camp where they'd gotten there early I think in the later part of the summer, early fall, where they didn't really need to dig in, and they just had tents probably. And there was thousands of these Garibaldi bullets, and it crashed the market. All of a sudden they weren't worth as much, but that was there wasn't too many of those bullets ever found.
Yeah.
I think I might have one. I have to look. I'm pretty sure I have one that came from that, general area. But I found two Whitworth bullets that they were from sniper rifles. Whitworth, English Whitworth. Basically, you can shoot like a half a mile and hit somebody from that distance.
Like Quigley Down Under bullets. That show movie, you just loads it up and take the paint bucket or whatever, the bucket 100, 200, 300 yards away, and he hits it every time. I can't remember. I think it's a Sharps rifle he's using, but big old monster elephant bullets, I call them.
Well, these were smaller. I think they were like 46 caliber, maybe.
No, okay. These are monsters.
They look like a miniature infield bullet. There's no rings on them. But one of them I found one fired one and one dropped one. One of them I found near the Texas camp, and they cut down the woods, and I was hunting around. There was hardly any signals, but I knew there'd been stuff in that area found, and I went over this one stump where they cut the tree almost flat to the ground. And I went over the stump and got a signal right in the middle of it.
Right.
It took me an hour to dig around that tree to get the bullet out from underneath of it. It sounded so good too. I thought, man, I got it. I just kept working and ended up getting this dropped Whitworth bullet. And they're rare bullets. It wasn't the one that was twisted. Some of them have a twist to them.
Uh-huh.
They even had Whitworth bolts where it was like a solid iron, like artillery shell, and it had a twist to it. And I remember they were some book they were talking about in a diary, when those things went across, they just made this really wicked sound when they went through the air, when they were spinning through the air. But pretty wild.
You're gonna be buzzing around, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, you just you have a lot of neat stuff, Craig, that you've found over the years, and I just you can't pick out just one thing. I'm sure You know, but I always liked that Cobb Real as far as coins go. I think that was the, you know, you found some, you know, regular reals. That Cobb was a beautiful specimen, you know, to find in the dirt or whatever. But the relic, I have to say that I always liked the breastplates and the different bullets. I don't know, the bullets probably ain't worth nothing, but I mean, they're neat. You know, there's a little bit of history there. And so many doggone drop bullets is not funny.
It's like up here. Some of the relic hunters told me that, you know, they sell the bullets go for like $10 a piece up here.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked. I remember when they went for about $1.50. You know, I remember a eagle button went for about, I think, $1.75.
Yeah, you're probably paying $20
like
a piece
that.
for those now, or something like that.
Oh, 25 for a perfect one, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know, the way I figured it was, you know, the people that spend that money on them, they're going to treasure them. So I mean, it's really relic safe. You know, I mean, they're going to have it for a long time and pass it on to, you know, somebody when they're gone. You know, it's just saving history, not getting thrown in a box somewhere in the basement of a building or something. You know, you know where I'm going with that whole thing. But
oh yeah,
you know, it's nice to display them. It's nice to show them. Everybody you know, I've never had a person tell me they didn't want to see some of the relics I found. I'll show one thing, and I have people coming around, you know, like over at the bar, or, you know, even the workers that come out here to put this mobile home in, you know, put the, you know, get the ground all level and put the block in and everything. One of the guys was asking about it because he saw the trailer, and, you know, I just pulled out a couple. I think it was some of the stuff that I found up there in the Pennsylvania hunt. He's like, "Oh my God, you ever find any gold?" I said, "Yeah, I found some gold, and I went and got that." And, you know, "What's the oldest thing you ever found?" And I show him a few coins that are, you know, a couple thousand years old, and he's like, "Oh my God, do you find all this stuff?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You find it here and there," and, you know, I said, "You know, stuff. Sometimes people send me stuff, and, you know, patches." And I showed him my office out there. He goes, "You know, I have that big showcase and everything out there, and it has, like, you know, Mark sends patches and Don't Tread on Me, you know." Those guys sent stuff, and, you know, Barbara sent some stickers and stuff. I put those inside the showcase too. And he goes, I said, "You haven't even seen the beginning of what I have." I said, "I got, you know, boxes full of stuff that I, you know, try to put out or give away as gifts and stuff. I make displays, and, you know, friends of mine and stuff, because they're all into it. You know, they may not metal detect, but they think the relics are cool. And it's not stuff that you know, it's not high dollar stuff or anything. It's just unique. A lot of the stuff I find is from the 1920s. It was the roaring 20s, you know what I mean? They had all kinds of fancy little gadgets, this and that, and it's a big conversation piece. My mom still has the stuff I put together for them in a box, a glass top box, and has shotgun shells all around the edge of it. They're sunk in on it, so, you know, they don't come off. But inside of there, I have stuff from Seminole Indian bullets to Seated Liberty, stuff like that, just whatever, all lined up in there on felt. And she puts it on her coffee table. It's only about a foot by a foot, but she gets more compliments about that. People sit there and talk about those items, you know, when they're over, like, "Well, what is this? Yeah, this is cool." So I guess, you know, you can bring a little happiness, a little conversation to the party, so to speak. It's a good thing. Kind of what you did, Craig. You're pulling out all these books, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what you found here? How old is that one?" You show me all those coins and stuff. So, and you know, I guess everybody's like that. You know, I know Bill Marsh, or not Bill Marsh, but Bill Pendergrass. He has his detecting layer, and he has all the stuff that he's found, and his detectors all lined up and everything else. And it was pretty cool to see that. You know, just kind of. I don't know, just, you know, living the hobby, so to speak. That's been the biggest part I've had, trying to display stuff. You know, I know you have a whole room dedicated to it now because you don't have any other place to put it.
Well, I actually got stacks of stuff in my living room too, but I got this one room in the back of my house. I call it my detector room, and I got stickers all over both sides of the door.
Yeah.
And,
Stealth diggers and Hoover boys and all the guys.
When you first go in the door, I got that whole side's nothing but stealth diggers, and I got almost the whole door covered.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side, I got Digging with Seven, the Relics Radio, and Hoover Boys, and Green Mountain Metal Detecting, Madison, Maine. What else? I got Death Wish Coffee. It has stickers on there, so I got those on there.
I think you have Don't Tread on Me too. I think on there, Dave. Didn't he send you some stuff too?
I don't think I've ever gotten one of their stickers.
Oh, you haven't? No, I have to send you one. They sent me a couple of them.
Well, anybody that's listening, if you got any stickers, I'd like to have some. If you got any, even if they're for
Barb's
sale.
on here. I know Bark Hoover has some adventure and history stickers and patches, and Barb has stuff from the dirt digging. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher the name of it again. I'm doing bad today, Barb. I'm sorry, but anyways, from their forum or Facebook pages and stuff. New Age Goonies. I know that Dwight has, Brian Robinson. They send off stuff once in a while. You can get stuff through their Facebook pages, all kinds of metal detecting stuff, stickers and patches and T-shirts, and that's what I wanted to. Always wanted. I like baseball caps, Craig, but you only can hang so many of those up. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just how you. Oh, good.
I got a whole bunch of detector hats.
Oh, I got a bunch of detector hats now. My wife told me the other day. Oh, good.
I found one the other day, had never been worn. Perfect, brand new DeSoro hat. Probably came from about 1990.
Yeah.
But
I still have one of those, a couple of those old pinpointers too. I think I lost you, Craig.
I'm still here.
Oh, I thought, okay. I thought you just totally dropped off for a minute there. And I have the old pinpointer there that, it's in pieces now. It's the one I was going to send you up for Mike. That old white pinpointer. It still worked, man. I tell you what, I had 10 years on that thing, and it was beat to death, and I had to fix it so many times, but it still worked. I mean, it could pick up a dime a 1 inch away. That's the kind of stuff I dealt with. I use it until it just don't work anymore is what it amounts to. And, I bought a newer one, the Technics or Quest pinpointer, whatever, and, that thing's, I'm probably going to have that thing for 15 or 20 years. I think it's durable as heck. I don't think I break it. I haven't even worn off the end piece yet. The little rubber cap you put on there, protection cap. I still have the original one on there and have 3 more that they sent with the thing, which was nice, but I never needed it anymore.
I think I've had mine for almost 4 years.
Yeah, I got mine about 6 months before you. I got mine, or 3 months before you, because we got them about the same time.
But I did a video back when I first got it, and it was, I don't know, at least 3 years ago, maybe 4, and I had it titled the Technics pinpointer, my first my the Technics, my first pinpointer, and I told about why I decided to buy that one, and I talked to all these different people, and it came between the Garrett Carrot and the Technics, and I liked the price, and I liked it was a pulse, induction one, and
right.
And I can't complain because I've got 4 years, no problems, and I've got a backup one, and I may never even use it.
I don't know. I just can't beat mine to death. I just, we're hard on stuff too.
Yeah, the tip is still, it's still on the original tips on it. But anyway, what was it? About 6 months ago, all of a sudden, that video had gotten up, to about 2,000, views, and so anyway, one day I was in the top probably 10 of my videos or close to it, and all of a sudden I couldn't find it, So then I go through the regular roll and I scroll all the way down and I find it, and finally realized that they were hiding it because of the title. And was it the Technics had violated some patents from Mind Lab and stuff, and also for Technetic. And the part of the thing was they had to change their name to Quest, and now they're not even in the United States anymore.
Well,
they're
I mean,
over, I think Netherlands now, but
that was the whole deal when I had those Quest detectors and doing reviews. I mean, through the grapevine, I heard they weren't even shipping here to the U.S. anymore. Something, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a shame because it's actually a pretty good. I'd rate it pretty high as far as detector goes. It does what they say, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. I mean, we've always said it. The business side of this hobby, it can be ruthless. I mean, the product wise, not for the customer side. You don't know too many about that, but dealers try to deal with each other, or deal with overseas, builders or shippers or whatever. That's what we got wrapped up in, and it got old and it got frustrating, and you want to choke people out. It's time to back off a little bit. So I just kind of stepped back, and Craig was ready to step back a year before me. But
I just, I thought, I didn't see it coming back. The way.
No.
I don't know. It was an eye opener. Some of it was fun, but some of it was pretty cutthroat. And I started. It was funny. I started getting calls from people that I knew them on Facebook, but I never really talked to them. And I just suddenly getting calls out of the blue telling me stuff, about some of these people and the dealings they'd had with them. And so I was like, oh,
I don't know. When I started getting death threats, I'm like, really, dude, come on down, get you some. I ain't worried about it, But it got so childish, some of this stuff, and I was like, no, it's just I don't need this.
It's a hobby, and and people fun, go, they get too serious. I don't know. It's like people. It's like a lot of people think they want to be the expert and this and that, and I go, I know a lot about metal detecting, but as far as an expert, I don't know if I am or not. I
don't think you ever are.
Person.
Yeah,
but I don't know every single machine. I haven't had every single machine, but I can give pretty good advice, and if I don't know something, I can probably find somebody that does, because that's the way this hobby is, and there's so many people out there that are that I can connect to that, do this hobby. I mean, I kind of did that I waited a while with the Equinox, and just I got on the different forums and started, reading the posts and stuff and listening to these people. And then I had several guys that bought them that, called me, and we, sat there and talked about it, and they were telling me about it, how good it was. And they'd had, many different machines. And that's when I decided, go ahead and try it. But,
you look before you leap, Craig. That's the name of the game. That's what I try to do all the time too, is to keep your wantingness for it to be a great detector or good detector or whatever. Keep it calm down and up to it is. And that's where I think we've always shined. We don't jump right into different detectors and just say they're good. We know they're good because we've used them. That's it's kind of like the old doing a comparison video with a detector you've used for 5 years and one you just bought yesterday. I mean, it's not going to be a very fair comparison because you just don't know the new detector, once you spend some time with it. And that's why I'm glad that a lot of guys, guys and gals both, will say, hey, I just bought this, so I'm going to see what it'll do. I'll see how it compares to what I already have. They come out and say it, but there's some that, like you said, Craig, think they're the expert. And you can't be an expert in everything. That means you know everything already, and you can't help yourself then. So
yeah,
you gotta Yeah, I used to have guys when I trained drivers, drive truck and over the road and all the ins and outs of that. And I said, the minute you think you're the best at something, it'll get you killed. And in that particular business, yeah, you start knowing everything, you can't learn nothing. So that's kind of what I do with everything in my life. I'm always learning. And once I have something down, I can move on to the next metal detector or next project, and try stuff that I don't know most people wouldn't try. I guess we Craig and I always come at stuff at a 180 compared to everybody else. It seems like, but stuff that's cool, something stuff that we can see the possibilities in, working or not, or some kind of technology, or we kind of look into it pretty hard, and we figure out early on whether it's gonna work right, or if they did it right, or whatever. And we don't get caught up in a lot of words, because some of this stuff is they're very good marketers. There's some companies that have fantastic marketing teams, but they know what to tell you to get you hooked on whatever they're selling.
Yeah.
But whether that product will do that or not, it's just what they are reading. They're not using it. They're out there using it, and to know that they only know what the paper tells them to say. And that's,
but that it doesn't seem to work as well nowadays with the internet, where you can, Google videos and see people, saying, hey, this thing is a piece of junk.
Right.
Don't believe what they're saying,
right.
And here's why,
Well, it's research. Really you have to research what you buy, whether it's a chainsaw, a car, or, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear to get you to buy some of this stuff. But then you talk to real guys, real people, and your friends on Facebook or whatever to say, I own one of those and it sucks. And they're going to tell you the truth. They have nothing to gain one way or another, So I'd sooner believe a person in the hobby rather than a marketing person, unless they're a detectorist. They have to have that kind of backing. Just reading a commercial or whatever, that doesn't do it for me. It may spark my interest temporarily, that's what it did with you. Well, that's how we've seen many detectors come and go. The Equinox stuck pretty good. It's pretty solid machine for what you're getting for the money and stuff. But we've seen, some of them like Deep Tech, and there's been a whole bunch of them that have just been come and gone for one reason or another. It doesn't necessarily mean they were bad detectors. Just the marketing part of them wasn't right. That was kind of the case with Bliss Tool. They didn't know how to market in the United States.
I saw a couple of companies that they got better. They rushed out the first machine, and it wasn't that good. I'm not going to mention it, but they do now make outstanding machines. But
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
but sometimes you got to when you first get into it, you have to, I think, you have to, once you make the machine, you have to test this thing and let a lot of people test it, to work out the different, kinks and stuff, like if there's a durability problem, you're going to get some, a bunch of, you can't have any mistakes nowadays, especially when you have a high-end detector,
Craig,
it can't be breaking. It can't be a heavy machine anymore. It's got to be, have, really good digital, meter and stuff on it. It's got to be waterproof. It's got to have wireless headphones. You
can't let your blinders get put on.
That's just the way it is now, and if it doesn't, and you're going to put out that kind of money for it, and it's like, $900 is not as much as some of them, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
To buy, put out. So I decided, the other thing is that, people are saying, don't, buy the 600, don't worry about the 800. And I decided, the way I am, I'd be going, oh man, and I wonder if I should have, bought the 800 if I'd gotten the 600. So I've always bought the top of the line one anyway. So.
Right. Well, we know where we're going to be at anyways, Craig, because you're going to, what you're going to do. Same thing I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the 600, and then 2 months later, I should have bought the 800. I should have bought, whatever kind of detector you're talking about. you're going to do research. I mean, we've all done that. When you get into this hobby, as much as a lot of us are, it's not a far stretch to say we would buy and sell metal detectors until we found one we really liked. A lot of us do that. I mean, I've owned plenty of detectors, and I haven't kept, very many of them very long. I mean, I have my White's machine, I have my Bliss Tool machines, I have that Quest, and I have just for nostalgic, I have a Tesoro, but it's, it doesn't work. It just more is a nostalgic piece, but, it just, you get a lot of, I'm not going to say a lot, you get some people that will do a review and sing a detector praises, and these are there's only a few bad apples, but you know who I'm talking about, Craig. Well, I'm not going to say his name; it's not important. But he sung out and said this detector was this and that, and man, this thing's great and everything, and I really like it. I said, well, hell, I got somebody that wants to trade me one of those. I'm gonna see what this thing's all about. I get it, Craig, and it was, on a for what the guy marketed it at or said about it, you should have been a pretty good machine, but it was a piece of garbage. I mean, it was just cheaply made, cheap plastic, cheap. You could tell by looking at it and the feel of stuff, the quality. Even if it is made out of plastic, I mean, a lot of detectors have plastic on them, but you could tell the brittleness, like the coil covers and stuff, if they're going to snap, that kind of thing, if you pull on them too hard, where other ones are more rubberized or whatever, different polymers to make them snap on better and stuff.
I was talking to this guy, and I mentioned that machine, this was some years ago, and so I said, and he said, oh yeah, I got one. I said, how is it? And he goes, you want to buy it?
Yeah.
And is it that bad? And he goes, yeah.
As I say, if he's offering to sell it to you, it's not a good machine.
Well, he said, I'll sell it to you real cheap.
Yeah.
And I said, is that bad, huh? And he goes, yeah.
Oh,
and I said, at least you're honest. And he goes, God, he goes, that they hyped that machine so bad.
They did.
But and another thing is, I remember I went on, I think it was eBay. Oh my God, there was like page after page of them for sale.
I had that one, Craig. I sold it to a guy in, oh my God, was it South America? I don't know. He paid me the extra shipping money and all that. And he wanted, I think I sold it for $100 just to get rid of it, because I literally used it twice for about 10 minutes each time, and I was like, this is an absolute piece of crap. As far as, if I were to buy this, not knowing the metal detectors, if I bought this product, I would have been so frustrated I probably would have never metal detected again. If I did, if I was brand new to the hobby. That's what upset me about it. Because, there's a lot of people that go out and buy these, and they don't understand it yet. They'll see one at Walmart or whatever, for, not saying bounty hunter's bad, and they make an inexpensive metal detector, and that's good just to get in the hobby with, but at least it does work the best it can. You know what I mean? It's not that machine that guy had. That thing I would have never even given one to somebody that was new to the hobby.
Well, they also marketed it as,
like a Deus, like a Deus or a CTX and all
being
this
able
stuff.
to do the same thing for like half to 2/3 of the price.
Yep.
And people were like, "Wow!" because Deus was like $1,500, at the time, $1,600. But it's.
That's why I wanted to test one, and I'm brutally honest. I think that's what everybody should do. If you're asked to field test a machine, I'm not saying beat them up. I'm not saying just give your whatever the machine will do. Tell them, good or bad. It's you're helping out your fellow hunter, because it hasn't been a problem recently, but it used to be a pretty bad deal sometimes with some of these, and I'm not going to even say the names of them because a lot of you guys already know and it's out there, but brand A, B, and C, C has always seemed to be liars or whatever, but brand A does exactly what I say, what I say it will do, or whatever it does. It's important to be as honest as possible, because you're helping them out too. If there is a problem with a detector, they can fix it, before they start really mass producing these, or they can sell the fix for it. It's like the arm cuff with the Quest. Not a big deal. On the big scheme of things, the machine works good. It looks good. It's structurally sound, except for that back arm cuff because of a small screw. That's something they can fix in the factory, or they can put a self-tapping screw in there. And it works good, but it's not enough to beat up a machine about. But at least tell them, And then he turned around. I took it out to a beach. I'm like, oh, this thing is not the best on a beach right now. And they actually made some changes on the program and did a firmware update, and plugged it in, get the firmware, and then it worked fine. And that's one thing we didn't mention the other night about detectors. These firmware updates. I mean, when did you ever think, Craig, 10 years ago, would you have thought of being able to hook up your detector to a computer to get updates and get different programs? Well, I guess it's been longer than that, but when you bought a brand A, that's what you got, unless you send it back into the factory. Now you can plug these machines, and they tell you to plug them right in, do a firmware update. We've changed some programming. And Deus does it, the Equinox does it, the Quest does it. I mean, I'm sure there's several more that do it also. But that's the coolest thing in the world. You can come up with a totally different metal detector just from programming, or more stabilization, better,
or improve it.
Improve it. Yeah.
One thing Deus did was they got different programs, and you just click, back and forth to go through the menu. I think there's like 20 or 30 programs or something. There's probably more now, but so you can just go to whichever program you want, click right on over, and then you can actually customize it once you're into it if you want. But it's so much easier, that
it's a big selling point.
They got like a relic program, a basic. They got like Deus Fast, which is like a, for trashy areas, and it's high kilohertz. They got all kinds of different little programs. Some people, come up with some really good programs. They got these hot and cold programs, and so it's. That machine, it's still one of the probably top 2 or 3 selling machines in the world.
Yep. Yeah.
Now they got the ORX, which is half the price, I think. And that machine will, they're going after the Equinox with that machine. So I kind of like it because there'll be a war, and the price will come down. They'll be competing against each other all the time, and coming out with better machines at a cheaper price, I think.
Right. And it's just going to get more people into the hobby. And I think that's a positive thing because, there's so many places that haven't been hunted yet. And when you think about it, so many properties, maybe these people can actually get permission on some of these properties. Being that they have family, or they have history in that county or state or whatever. At least they're going to be saving more relics, more saving history. And it's. I think I've always said it was a safe hobby for kids. I really think it has the adventure side, but it's I don't know. It's not. It's kind of like hunting and fishing and stuff like that. I think anyway. You're out there and everything. You just don't have the. Obviously firearms and stuff people have a problem with, but it's an adventure a 10 or 11, 12-year-old kid can have on his own and not, I don't know, be in serious danger. You're out in the backyard, you're out in the backwoods or whatever, metal detecting. You're not getting into other troubles with drugs and all that stuff. So, we used to do that stuff. We used to go out and build forts, and heck, we used to play outside, and we used to drink out of a water hose too. Imagine that, Craig. I listen to some of these songs. They talk about that stuff, the stuff we used to do when we survived it. These kids nowadays can survive it too. So, just common sense. If something hurts, don't do it again. If you break something, don't do it again. Oh gosh. But I was telling.
Yeah, we used to explore we used to go explore sewer systems. We'd be one time we were underneath the high school, about 100 feet underneath of it. It was crazy. We used to do some wild stuff. Somebody would say, "Hey, there's a big hole over there, under that bridge. I wonder if that's a tunnel." And we sneak over there and go in it. Oh yeah, it is. So come back later with torches and stuff.
Yep. We had it just happen. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Craig. I was talking about that. I was on where I went to high school out of town. I went to high school, and somebody brought that up on a Facebook page from my old hometown. They were talking about, hey, anybody ever hear about the tunnels underneath the high school? Hell, when I was 13, 14 years old, two or three of us found the doorway. We saw a janitor come out of that door, and we thought it was a closet for the longest time. I was in the high school. We went down there. It used to be an old gun range, and that's where, you take your hunter safety classes, and they had the little gun range down there for 22s, but that thing went all around the bottom of the high school and then off in places we didn't even know about. It was creepy fun, what I mean? When you're that age, it's like, it gets spooky. You're down, in this tunnel or whatever. Craig, because you've been down in sewer systems and everything else. It's the adventurous side, man. It didn't seem like much now to some people, but I don't know, it was a blast when we were doing it. There's something different. It was kind of neat that came up all these years later. Heck, I explored most of those tunnels underneath there, and they went to like the gymnasium. I think there was one in one of the classrooms that came out. I don't know if they were considered to be like a bomb shelter of some kind, because the school was put in, and God, it was the 20s, I think. Anyways, maybe the 30s. It could have been, considered, maybe being used for a bomb shelter underneath there or something. I know there was power lines and pipes and stuff going through there too, but yeah, it led all over the place. There was places to get out, but not too many people knew about it. We just happened to know about it because it was right by the ag rooms right there. We hang out in that hallway. We'd pick the lock to get in because we take not a credit card, but slide the lock, the old doorknobs. That's how we used to get down there because they kept it locked. So kind of breaking the law back then, I guess. I don't know. Disclosure. No, I did not do that. The door was left wide open. I just walked in. But we didn't hurt nothing. We were just out exploring. It was something different, new. We do that, out in these wooded areas. You can go for miles and not hit a main road. We didn't even know where. We learned how to use compasses real doggone quick, Craig. You get lost for 5 or 6 hours, and the woods start warning you about nightfall whether you're going to be able to find your way out of there. So you learn real quick that you don't walk a straight line in the woods. You have to walk around trees and stuff, so you end up going in a totally different direction and not even realize it sometimes. So.
Yeah.
I think there was a video about that. A guy was metal detecting, and he's making a video, and I can't remember. It took him, I think he was 6 miles from his car when he finally came out of the woods or something like that. And he was starting to get worried he was ever going to get out of there. So it can happen. But yeah, we're about 20 after 9. Craig, probably got to wrap it up for tonight. But like I said, we're going to be starting to do these shows kind of in the mornings. Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. And we're going to try to keep it more topic oriented. But you know how Craig and I are. We'll go off the cuff. We'll come up with a topic and talk about it. What do we know about it? I always like the challenge too, Craig, having somebody call in and throw some topics at us right on the spur of the moment, because I think we and Craig do pretty good. We're pretty well versed with a lot of stuff out there, so we probably have at least an opinion about it, right? So,
oh yeah.
But try to maybe do some other different things with that show. Just half-an-hour shows. You can download them off of Spreaker.com. Or you can get to Spreaker.com through HardcoreMetalDetecting.com. We have a direct link there. And, so if you can't listen to it live, at least you can download it later. And I guess we'll just, like I said, wrap it up. We're on every Thursday and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. here. And this show won't change. It's kind of the same, just open format as we've always had. So, we'll keep what's working for us anyways and add to it. So that's what we're doing on these morning shows. So, Craig, we'll talk to you Monday morning.
All righty.
All right, brother. Yeah. Y'all, thanks for listening in. Like and follow the show. Tell a friend, too. It's the only kind of advertising we do. Is just pretty much word of mouth through the computers. So, thank you for listening. Get out there if you can. Keep digging. God bless.